Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I saw this and I missed something here, and then I realized what was going on. Bank XRP had tweeted this, and he said back to a gold standard, and all he had tweeted was this graphic, which is the dollar's worth, the purchasing power, and basically, for those of you that don't know, 1971 Nixon took us off the gold standard, and then ever since then, the dollar's value has declined. And our money is worth basically nothing. They can print it into existence. But what I didn't catch is that he had retweeted this tweet, which I also happened upon, and I saw it, and my first glance, I was like, what is that, 3 weeks to go back to pre-1971? But the reason I didn't think anything of it and I was like, why is everybody retweeting this? Until I looked, I didn't realize that this was from the freaking Tether CEO. So then I saw this from Digital Perspectives, Brad Combs, who is doing the XRP Las Vegas conference, which is going to set records this week. He says, oh, really? We've been wondering what will happen to USD Tether. Will it be collapsed, taken over, forced into compliance through regulation and legislation? Well, here is one more scenario to consider. Is USD Tether getting ready to introduce gold as a part of the reserves? Now, understanding that Ripple will be launching USD stablecoin soon, will there be a connection between these two events? And it reminded me of this clip. This is Dr. Pippa Malmgren. Listen to what she said in this clip.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we're on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens, in my opinion.
You mean it risks World War III?
We're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private. But what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The U.S. is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether a world order really serves.
Okay, folks, so I'm just going to tell you this. In my life, if there's ever been a time in my life where I was like, man, I'm going to own some physical gold, it's now. That's part of the reason I got my sponsor, Miles Franklin. My other sponsor, by the way, is Glint. And with Glint, you can open an account, you can have gold, and that's spendable gold. So I see these things as two different compartments for myself. Miles Franklin, if you wanted to get physical gold, you can go here, you can click sign up right here, and then you can go enter referral code DAI gold. That's where I'm buying my gold, and both of those guys will be at XRP Las Vegas. Hey, look who's talking about the Internet of Value. It's the bankless guys, you know, the Ethereum guys who have now abandoned Ethereum, and now they're talking about Solana. with Jeremy Allaire of Circle, talking about the Internet of Value. Who came up with that term?
You've been through the early internet cycles, and now you're here for the Internet of Value cycle. What year is that? Are we in the early 90s, in the late 90s? Is this post.com bubble? I mean, certainly 2022 felt to a lot of people like it was a bubble and then a pop.
Yeah. So I think about this a lot, and I think it's very different than the evolution we saw from like basically these unconnected networks in the 80s and connecting those into sort of the birth of the HTTP protocol, which then kind of gave rise to the web, and SMTP protocol, which gave rise to email, which were really in 1998 like the killer apps. They were still pretty difficult to use, and it was all dial-up modems. It was a pretty awful infrastructure.
All righty. Now, I saw this tweet, and I wanted to put this out there because I know it's been attempted. He says, all of a sudden, Coinbase cutting deposit limits. They know that Circle is closing. And real soon, if you didn't accumulate enough to be an accredited investor, guess what? You will be out. I was $5,000 daily deposits to $2,000 out of nowhere. I was at $5 last week. Now, here's what he's talking about. Okay, I don't know what all this stuff about $5,000 daily is, but here's what he's talking about. If you remember back, it sounded like somebody tried to open my door. Okay, nobody opened my door, but it sounded like it. So anyway, if you remember about a year or so ago, Gary Gensler, there was some kind of proposal. It wasn't passed or anything, but it was to get the accredited investor definition to take it from 1 million to I think it was 10 million. And at that time there was a controversy, and I was talking about it too. This would be a way for Gary Gensler and his corrupt friends to slam the door on anyone who's not pretty wealthy, and then they could try and have it where only they and their friends are able to invest in crypto to make some kind of. So anyway, if you increase that accredited investor thing to 10 million, all of a sudden that slams the door on a lot of people. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying that's what's being referenced here. And Gary Gensler has made a proposal like that. Patrick McHenry is all about tweeting and writing letters to Gary Gensler. He's very threatening, scary tweet here about the new court filings and how Chair Gensler knowingly misled Congress. Really, I'm sure Gary's really scared, since Gary has never faced any repercussions for anything from these guys. Now, Moy Finance, who I think is going to be at XRP Las Vegas. What's going on at XRP Ledger? XRP Ledger native lending This is the holy grail. This is the digital asset investor holy grail. I never have to sell my XRP. XRP Ledger native lending protocol. The protocol model allows for fixed term loans without collateral, focusing on simplicity and flexibility to facilitate decentralized finance lending. Go down here. Liquidity providers deposit assets into lending pool to earn interest, with loan terms negotiated between borrowers and pool delegates. Pool delegates manage lending pools, vet borrowers, and fund loans from their managed lending protocol. Share your thoughts below. Then this from RizXRP. Check it out. Ripple partner. Hold on, somebody's trying to call me. Let me text them. All right. Ripple partners with SBI Group, Hashkey DX, to create own XRP Ledger blockchain solutions, starting with supply chain finance. SBI is the first Japanese corporation to use XRP Ledger for its supply chain. Ripple X VP predicts 16 trillion tokenized market. This strategic decision by Ripple indicates a possible shift in focus from prioritizing expansion within the U.S. Seems like all of Ripple's decisions are strategic to me. Now, You all remember this exchange between Byron Donalds and Gary Gensler.
Hey, real quick, last question. I think it might have came up. You were Hillary Clinton's CFO in the campaign, right?
It's part of my history.
Were you? Yes or no?
In 2016.
Did you facilitate the payment for the Steele dossier since you were CFO of the Hillary Clinton campaign?
Sir.
Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes or no?
That was not.
You're under oath, Chairman Gensler. Yes or no?
I know. I was not something I was aware of.
I yield back the rest of my time.
Oh, is that what you think, Gary? Watch this. This is Devin Nunes.
And we can't have access to the capital markets like any other company can. I think it's really, really corrupt. And I think the more time that goes by, I think the Congress, as they begin to look into this, is going to figure out just how deep this is. You asked me, who are these players? Well, look, Gensler, the head of the SEC, is someone who was heavily involved in the Russia hoax. In fact, he was the guy who helped to finance the Russia hoax. He was the treasurer of the Clinton campaign back in 2016. We investigated all of this in 17 and 18. And look, we found out that he was the guy who made the payments to a law firm who then moved it on to Fusion GPS. Look, how can a guy who I investigated, who clearly funded a dossier to target Donald Trump owns True Social, as I think most people know, how can that guy be in charge of this?
Best line here, really, really corrupt. Folks, we live in a time of deceit. The Bitcoin marketing department is a part of that time of deceit, in my opinion. I believe that there was a Bitcoin marketing program specifically to guide the sheeple and the herd towards Bitcoin, this dinosaur technology that doesn't even work compared to most of the rest of it. I believe it was a marketing 1,000,000% PR campaign, and I believe there were many PR firms involved. The irony is that most of us out here that have been telling the truth get more views than the Bitcoin marketing machine does, believe it or not. But if you were going to create a PR team for Bitcoin, what you would do is you would have pretty faces, and you would also have young hipsters with hoodies and no furniture because they could identify with this young generation. Isn't that what you would do? That's exactly what you would do. I think Black Swan Capitalist has a very interesting tweet here. The truth is gradually surfacing where Bitcoin and Ethereum are set to be recognized as securities, while XRP will maintain its regulated status as a legit currency. Soon the world will realize that this was a deception on a global scale to mislead the masses and pocket their money. And he's retweeting this. I haven't seen this. I don't know what this is. BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF filing update address potential classification of Bitcoin as a security by the SEC. What? I hadn't seen this. I'm not saying that's going to happen, by the way. But anyway, what I do know, folks, is that we live in a time of deceit. There's no question we live in a time of deceit. We are intentionally being lied to. We're in the middle of multiple psyops that have been used to manipulate you and me. I think that this has all been done specifically because we are heading into a global reset. I think this is what they had to do from their point of view. I'm not saying they had to do it, but I think that this is everything about a global reset, has everything to do with crypto, everything to do with a monetary reset, the Bretton Woods 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call it, everything to do with a gold standard, everything to do with changing over this system from the fiat lie system to hopefully something much better. And I think there's been a lot of good and evil parties involved in trying to bring this in to landing in their favor. But in DAIXRP.com today, we're going to talk about how this is a time of deceit. I'm going to show you how this is all such a time of deceit and show you more of the deceit. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that away we go to show you what the deceit all is. Here we go.